seem a little more simple than baggy jeans and a beat-up pair of sneakers. Congos on the radio, fishermen. Dreadlocks in a room full of tweakers. We didn't know what direction we was going.
It's artsy fartsy.
Exactly. Well,
You'd fit in perfect in Miami, darling.
Well, welcome to Crushing Brevard. Today we have Dawn Hill. Dawn, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you own a skincare. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. So you're a skincare specialist, and
yes,
you have your own business in the Atlantic. But
I do. I guess about a couple years ago, I decided my girls were getting older. Mm-hmm. My actual degree is in broadcasting and journalism, and kind of the backstory was when we moved here. My husband traveled quite a bit for work, and I wasn't going to Orlando, and my kids were little. So I kind of had various businesses throughout my time here. But then I realized my kids are getting older. Okay, I know nothing about hair.
Okay.
It was already going to cost me a fortune having their hair done. Yeah. So I was like, well, I love skin. Mm-hmm. And, we've all been traumatized by our moms, attacking our faces growing up. So I was like, well, if there's anybody that's going to do it, it's me. So I went back to school about 2 years ago and, went and got my license. And then I opened up my own shop called Skincare with Dawn, mm-hmm. Right there in Indy Atlantic and 4th Avenue.
201 North Riverside, is that?
That
okay.
is
We like to, links in the description, we like to say.
Sweet D.
So tell me about the schooling and the licensing, because as a guy who had to get a liquor license and that process, I like to hear how people navigated that type of thing.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was kind of an eye-opener going back to school at my age, mm-hmm. and being one of the oldest ones there. So my nickname around school became Mama Dawn. Okay. Because I brought in cookies, I would help teach certain things. Working with the state was kind of a pain in the neck, trying to get that licensing and all that fun stuff. And, the state has really done different regulations on things we can do. For example, microneedling, which used to be an esthetician can do. But now they took that away from estheticians and they want you to get a separate license. You have to have a tattoo license.
Really?
So, yeah, and even for permanent makeup and things of that nature, okay. You still have to get a tattoo license. So you got your esthetician's license, and then for more extra work or stuff that you want to promote within your business, like microneedling or permanent makeup, you have to go and get a separate license and get a tattoo license.
And then they change that all the time. Then you get a different thing here, and now you don't need this and you can do it and all that stuff. And
yeah, it goes back and forth. The state they want their Benjamins in some way, shape, or form.
They always get their cut. We all know that part. But so tell me about the business that you do and your most popular treatments, and then a little bit about whether you have a lot of repeat business, or is it steady? Is it people come in for the same? Is it like, what I'm asking is it like hair or massage where do you see the same people on a regular basis, or do you get them quote fixed and then you don't see them anymore, or is it kind of a mix of stuff?
No, it's actually a kind of mix. One of the things that most of my clients love about me is the fact that I offer a lot of different services. Okay. I do spray tanning. I don't do hair or nails, mm-hmm. and that's a whole another license. Yeah. But I do spray tanning, Brazilians, hair removal, brows, lashes, lash extensions. So I have an umbrella of different services that allows for people to pick and choose, customize their own thing. Now, there are some people that just come in every 4 weeks for their specific service that they want. Mm-hmm. I do have my regulars in that aspect. Okay. I have my regulars who come in, regularly on that 4-week mark, getting their facials done. Moms are now starting to bring their kids in because, like we said earlier, we want to attack their face, but their kids, it gets too much. Yeah. So, especially for some of my teens that have real problem with acne. Yeah. So then they'll bring them in for that. So it kind of varies. I am still fairly new, so mm-hmm. it's starting to pick up. And like I said, once everybody sees that I have so much to choose from, they're like, you're a one-stop shop. Yeah. So it's great. It works out that way.
Nice. And so you said it's kind of a mix. How did you pick this location? Is it kind of close to obviously don't give us your home address, that'd be silly, but close to home or just kind of.
Yeah, no, actually it is. It actually kind of popped up into my lap. I was managing a couple other salons prior, and I really wanted to go on my own. I've always been an entrepreneur, so it's kind of one of those, this is a stepping stone, so I want to fly, so I'm going to get on my own space. And just happened to be right, 5 minutes from my house. So it kind of just worked out perfect that way. The location just fell in my lap.
So how did you grow I bought this business, it was already functioning. I didn't have to, I didn't have to do a lot of big advertising.
One sec to make sure it's not a really loud freight train, because then that just gets all out. So we'll give it a second.
I'll just pick up where I was.
There you go. All right.
Well, we don't know yet. Give it a second. Sorry.
Hey man, that was going on really good there.
That was fantastic. He's like, we like it in one cut. Let's just see if the train goes by. Oh, it's gone. All right. So I bought this place as a functioning business. Like the old owners owned it on Sunday. We had Monday off. On Tuesday, I owned it. Didn't change anything. Obviously, that's not your case. How did you kind of create the market, or not create the market, but create the business? So did word of mouth, did people know you were doing this, they were waiting? Just describe that process to me.
So originally, like I said earlier, I was managing a couple salons and I was doing work at those salons. So a lot of my customer base, when I told them I was leaving, and I was not, a lot of it I brought into the business as it is. But I told them I'm leaving. They could make a choice. They could stay here or they could follow me, but this is where I'm going. I was very ethical about it, and 90% of my clients from there followed me over, and that's
like my wife and her hair. If she gets a stylist she likes and they go somewhere else, she just goes with them.
They follow them, yes. So, and then word of mouth. I've been getting great Google reviews. I've got a 5-star on Google, and I had put out some Groupons, and now I'm like 5 stars on Groupon. So it's and even though most business owners don't like the whole Groupon thing because some people think it's one and done.
Yeah.
But again, it goes back to this.
It depends on what the business is, right?
With me, it's because I've offered some of these clients the same pricing. And as I've told them and told everybody, yes, I'm in it to make money, but I'm also in it to help people out. So if I know you're on a limited budget, that's fine. Come see me anyway, because I will work around that. Come in and do something for yourself.
Yeah.
And it's not just for women, it's for men too. Men get facials, men get waxing done. And so I like to make myself available and not be that person that's like, oh, no, she's way too expensive. No, because there's something that can fit for everybody.
Do you have other people there doing this, or is it just you?
No, it's just me. It's actually where I rent out of the room. A woman owns that business per se, and she does massage, and she does a lot of things that I do. But we have our own two separate.
You have your own kind of section of it.
Correct.
So you're subleasing.
Basically.
Tell me about the journalism thing. That's kind of interesting. So was that your first? You said you've always been an entrepreneur. So what kind of other things have you touched on here in your life?
Here in Brevard, I started, and this was before Shipt ever came here and all the other bigs. I had Delivery Divas. And I would do grocery delivery, courier services, notary services. I had been a notary for 15 years, so I used to do legal document preparation for those that couldn't afford an attorney. I used to own my own wine magazine in Atlanta called Grape Anticipation.
I like it. That's good.
And we did really well with that, and then 2008 hit, and I think everybody lost. Anybody that was in marketing lost their behinds completely.
Went to zero pretty quick,
Yep, and I, like I said, the marketing, the journalism, I really wanted to go into radio. That was my big thing. I always was told, I'm a singer as well, that I always had a good voice. It was good personality. I could always banter.
Yeah.
If that talked to me, I'd talk to it.
Right.
So, but
we're pushing that right now to see if that's true or not.
Yeah, right.
You can actually talk to anybody.
When I really was looking at the whole, and kind of after interning for a couple of radio stations and TV stations, I really got the truth of what journalism is about. And for me, my nickname around town is NFD. No filter Dawn.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going, well, I can be that on the radio and get shot. Same with news. It's like, oh, I better choose something a little safer.
Okay.
Only because I just, I'm that person that I'm not that I'm not unpolitically correct.
Yeah.
I'm brutally honest.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But like you said, these days, if you get on the radio or on TV and you say the wrong thing, there's people outside your door. So you don't want to have that happen. So
I mean, at least with the way I am now, it's very minimal. They'll show up.
Exactly.
If I was actually broadcasting it, yeah.
So what do you see? Do people come in and you see that they see a huge transformation? What kind of services lend themselves to that?
So my anti-aging microneedling work, which is one of the ones I was talking about, you have to have a tattoo license. Yeah. That's one that really you see the most change on, because we're literally, the process is tiny little needles and it's making little puncture holes in your skin. And we're putting some really good so the product I use is a stem cell. So I'm putting stem cells back into your face. It's repumping up the collagen. It's breaking up any scar tissue that is on your face. For those that have acne scarring, the women like to call these lines the Frau lines of the 11s. Helps get rid of those, the crow's feet. Only because that anti-aging regimen that we're using is really kind of putting back that youth back. So you really get to see that after like 2 or 3 treatments.
Okay, so these days, I don't have a tattoo. Chris might have 6 or 7, 3 or 4, whatever. Yeah, but the people doing these permanent, you talk about permanent makeup? What? Why? What if trends change? I mean, I don't know anything about this stuff. So
it's like a time saver in the morning. If you
it really is. Yeah. My brows are permanent makeup. My eyeliner's permanent makeup. And most people would never even know.
Okay, I had no idea.
So it's not coming off on a sunny, sweaty day.
Correct. And when I say permanent, it really is not like a tattoo per se.
Okay.
It's not using tattoo ink. It's actually using a pigment ink, and to fit obviously the color so it matches your skin tone. Okay. And it doesn't go gray or whatever like traditional tattoos does. Okay. And it's semi-permanent. You still have to in a few years get it touched up. But for the reason why women in general get it are for my cancer patients that have no brows. Yeah. They're finally through their treatments, and the fact that I have been trained in oncology skincare, it's the one thing that they love coming to me about and saying, okay, am I ready?
We'll talk about a change when people come. If you have that and you're like, you get through it and you're like, oh great, now I don't have eyebrows, and you can make them feel better about that part of it too. Oh, well, that's amazing.
And then there's the other side of it. We all remember back in the early 90s, the Gwen Stefani age, where everybody wanted pencil eyebrows.
You guys remember that. Anyway, but yeah.
So these pencil thin eyebrows, and girls would just pluck, 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 and now there's no hair. So they're like, I don't like this. Yeah. So, we do stuff. And then again, just traditional hair loss. So people will lose hair from their eyebrows. So they want to get it done.
All right, that makes a lot more sense when we're talking about, it's not like you do the whole thing.
No,
you're not doing like green eyeshadow or anything.
No.
All right. So that's the first thing I thought of. That's why we talk to people, so I can become informed about how the world works.
You're a big crier like Tammy Faye Baker.
Exactly. And maybe you need that done, right?
But also like the permanent eyeliner, like I have it on. It really, again, it's a time saver. Yeah. You can just throw your makeup on a little bit, and there's even a product where you can do, it's called BB Glow. It's like a pigment foundation that you can microneedle into the skin, and you literally look like you have foundation on, powder on. So if you have all that done, you don't even have to put on makeup. You can just go.
Okay.
So,
I'm not. You can obviously tell I don't wear a lot of makeup. Or if I do, I don't do it very well. One of those two.
Yeah, I never gave so much thought to like all these services that are provided in the industry.
There's just a ton of stuff you do. I know you're talking about there's a list, but holy cow, there's a list. Like it's.
And people, here's one for you too, like spray tanning. People want to think that spray tans are just for people who can't go out in the sun. Are you kidding? If I could warn everybody, put something on your face. I can't begin to tell you how many clients of mine that go, oh, I don't wear sunscreen. Like, you know where you live?
Yeah.
It's on heaven most days.
Yeah.
I'm like, sun doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, Latin. I don't care what kind of skin tone you have, or whether it's olive or whatever. It doesn't discriminate. It's still going to burn you.
It doesn't care down here, no.
So, like, what I have right now, just as a spray tan, and nobody would know.
Okay.
Everybody thinks that I would lay out.
Okay.
Yeah. So I saved my face. I saved my, from it being wrinkled and leather looking, and I still look natural and golden.
Yeah. Well, that would be, yeah. I mean, your skin looks fantastic, and that's probably kind of a requirement for doing this job too, because you got bad skin. They're like, what am I doing here? So, physician, heal thyself. So how did you come to live in Brevard County, specifically in the Atlantic?
So I'm originally from Miami. Was living in Fort Lauderdale at the time. When my husband and I met, when we were dating, he was kind of driving back and forth from Brevard to Fort Lauderdale. At the time, my stepdaughter was 5, and it just was a lot of travel. So he kept kind of moving us north.
Okay.
And I actually owned a laundromat business in West Palm. And then when we found out I was pregnant with my first child, it was just kind of time at that point. Hey, let's move to here. It's too much. He kind of convinced me that this was a better place for the kids. And I saw a lot of the writing on the wall, in Miami. And I'm Hispanic and I got out. Not to talk bad about it, but the traffic is insane. It's just that, it was time, and I really didn't want to raise my kids in chaos down there. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. It was interesting to say the least when I first moved here.
Okay.
Everybody was so slow. I mean, I'm coming from a racing background on top of that. I used to do quarter-mile drag racing.
Oh, wow.
I was with the CCS circuit for a while.
So tell us about the drag racing. Let's not gloss over that. That's kind of cool. So, yeah.
I used to race for the Nopi Drag Race
Are we talking like funny cars or like stock cars? Or?
It was imports.
Okay.
Quarter-mile drag.
And so what kind of, give me a couple of cars.
I had an Acura that we souped up. I mean, think of the Fast and Furious, and that was it.
So like nitrous and stuff like that? Or, oh, man.
Lancer Evos and stuff like that?
Turbo, nitrous.
Ever crash one?
No, never.
Ever seen one go boom?
Not blow up, but I have seen some car fires, and I've seen some nasty accidents.
Quarter mile, that's got to take... that's like 4 seconds, isn't it? Or 3 seconds?
60 seconds.
Wait, what?
You could do it in less than a minute. I mean, quarter mile, you're not doing it in 4 seconds.
That's like 10 is fast.
Oh, okay. All right, sorry. I'm thinking, it would take a minute at 60 miles an hour. Right.
Yeah, like a lot of sport bikes, they're fast. 10 seconds.
It would be 15 seconds at 60 miles an hour, but you're starting from zero. So
the Ducatis I used to race, the 1198s, I raced in the 1,000 class. Yeah, that would go in a quarter mile in probably like 4 seconds.
Okay. All right. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack. That just seemed super cool. So, all right. So we were talking about
how I moved to Brevard. So when I finally got here, it was.
Everything was slow.
It was slow. It's like I had to learn to slow down a little bit. And eventually I learned to, it was a culture shock because I've been in big cities, lived in big cities. And to move to a small town, it was very different, very beachy. I had to learn to not be the typical Latin who dressed up for everything in 4-inch heels, going out and getting dirty looks from people, it's okay to wear jeans. So, I still dress up every now and then, but I come in scrubs, and normally I'd be, it's an interview, let's get dressed to the nines, makeup's got to be done.
Oh, yeah, no, my wife's from Philadelphia originally, and she likes to get dressed up, and it's just... Florida.
I still love getting dressed up.
There's not a whole lot of occasions to really, throw on the fancy stuff. So
right. Well, it was funny because I was going to an aesthetic show in Miami, and a girlfriend was coming with me, a fellow esthetician. And when we got there, she'd never been to Miami, and we went out in South Beach, and she just was, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I see where you're coming from. I told you. I said, it's two different worlds here.
I see we found District 1 from the Hunger Games here. All right,
Yeah,
like in
so
Capital City or something.
it was a nice transition moving here. I mean, I love the fact that we're really close to the beach. My kids love it. I love the fact that they've got their, they go to Holy Name.
Okay.
This nice little close-knit community and friends that really stick together.
Okay.
And that's not something I'm used to coming from a big city. You know, it's
Yeah.
just, you don't see that camaraderie and that togetherness.
Community kind of thing, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. That's cool. And so are you at the point with your kids where you're just chasing them around every weekend to this, that, the other thing, and
Pretty much.
and you know they're in what kind of activities are you?
They're 8 and 10, and
Okay.
that's the one thing I really love about our school is they're involved in everything. So they play flag football, basketball. They were doing lacrosse, track.
Yeah.
They're in plays. So yes, I am running from here to here to
Yeah,
here
no,
to here to here.
Mine are 26, 24, and 21, and I still remember the days of where we'd pray they would just lose the softball game so we could just go home. You know,
Remember the track meets?
it's like, oh,
12 hours.
Yes.
please just lose so we can leave.
I missed the Friday night football when he was in high school. Like, that was exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, the whole town was there.
Yeah, but it's different when you're sitting on a chair in the left center field bleachers for 17 hours of your weekend.
Yeah, but I mean this age group, I love it because you really see the change when they're, you know, they're first starting to learn something.
Okay.
So like with my daughter, this kid should be a quarterback. I mean, she's got an arm like nobody's business.
Okay.
And to see her watch and throw, and all the boys are like, yep, that's my kid. That's mine. So it's just fun at this age to really watch. In fact, last year when my youngest, she played basketball for the first time, and if you've ever watched first graders play basketball,
cluster ball.
I was literally dying half the time. It was so funny, but it was so cute to watch them. You know, and then watching the progression as they grow.
Yeah.
So I really like it.
They get better skills, and they
Yes.
learn that passing's a part of the game, and you know
They're not teenagers where they think they can, you know, tell you that they know everything.
right. That's true.
They're still listening to you,
Yeah,
and
no,
they're still
it's
taking
wonderful,
direction.
isn't it?
So-
Yeah, no, having little kids do sports is kind of, there's something fun about it, and then again, it's a time vampire. But I was like I had mentioned before, like I said, I was going to kind of list all the stuff you do, but I don't think we have time. Like it's just teeth whitening.
Yes.
Okay, so do you describe that process? Is it the trays, or is it
No. Well, it's the gel
light?
and then the light.
Okay.
So I mean that takes about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour to do. So you sit back in a tray, we put on the gel, and then you sit with the light.
Okay, and how often do people come in for that?
Not very often.
Okay.
They like more going to the dentist and paying twice as expensive, but
yeah, exactly. But
it's just one of those things where, I mean, it's something we're allowed to do.
okay.
I offer it, but I don't get a lot of takers on it.
What is body contouring?
Okay, so that's the homeopathic.
And can you help me? No,
Yes.
I guess calf muscles.
yeah, exactly.
It's for those that do not want to go under the knife.
Okay.
So it's there's various different types of machine that helps with body contouring. You can slim down the waist. There's butt lifting. I can make for women, make them have a bubble butt.
Okay.
Slimming down the thighs. Even for some women who want some kind of a breast augmentation, we can do that without you having
cutting.
to go under the knife.
Okay. Huh. All right. I took
Figured I'd give
everything.
Steve
Eyelash,
cheat
brow
sheet for
lifts.
this.
Oh, so the lash lifts and tints. Those are my fun ones.
Okay.
And I kind of always joke with my clients when we're sitting there I'm like, okay, we're going back to the 80s now. So it's like a perm solution that goes right on your eyelash, right on the baseline.
Okay.
And it basically curls up the lashes, makes it look like you have mascara on or
Okay.
falsies, and with the black tint, and it makes you look like you're having mascara for the next 6 weeks.
That's crazy.
And it's a lot cheaper than I do lash extensions as well, but that's an investment.
Yeah.
And that's costly. And for some women, they're coming in every 2 weeks, and it's not a cheap thing. So for women, it's a better price alternative for, if you have lashes, just get the lash lift and tint.
So is that generally the deciding factor between those two things, is the price, whether because the other one would last, you'd have them, right?
The extensions, the lash extensions, they're like false lashes that are glued right on top of your natural lashes.
Yeah.
So those don't, because your hair is growing every single day.
Yeah.
So eventually they start.
Yours. Sorry. Anyway, Chris, show the dome. There we go. Yeah.
Hey, I can stimulate that. I have a machine, a microneedling, that stimulates the hair follicle that will help grow hair back.
I don't know what I would do with hair. I've been shaving my head so long. I would have a big afro, or I don't even know anymore.
I'm tall enough, no one notices I'm going bald. So.
The Jason Statham treatment.
There you go.
Works.
And again, that goes, just for that aspect, that's another service I have to put back on. The microneedling with the stem cell will actually re-stimulate the follicle to reproduce hair growth on your head.
So you get people come in that they're starting to go bald, and you kind of have it. Wow, all right. I think I'm probably a little beyond that.
What's the turnaround on that to get your hair to really be growing and see you never lost hair?
So it is a process. I mean, you come in every 4 weeks, and so it would probably and it just really depends on how long the hair loss has been, because what you're doing is you're pushing that serum, the stem cell, into the hair follicle to regenerate the hair follicle and the growth. So for some people it might take a little bit longer. For others it can be 3 treatments. It's always a minimum at least 3 treatments to really see the results.
What's the efficacy rate of that?
I haven't.
We're not gonna hold you to it. So I mean, just roughly, the process,
it
ballpark.
Works for 80% of people.
I would say so. I haven't done anything with the hair follicles for men that I've experienced yet, but for those that I know people, 80%, 85% is probably an accurate
awesome.
number.
Determined to get your hair back and you look like you're 20-something again.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, that would be that's a lot higher than I would think it would be, but it's been the hair club for men thing where that's all those kinds of things.
But you have to think about they're doing the same thing, but more with a laser.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're re-stimulating. It's just a lot more expensive and a lot quicker process.
Yeah.
But all they're doing is the same thing with
just hitting it with
a laser and hitting that hair follicle and putting some type of stem cell or whatever serum they're using to generate that to get downside to the bulb of the hair follicle.
What's your demographic men-women mix? Like 90-10?
Predominantly more women.
Okay.
I do have my men that come in for facials, Brazilians.
Okay.
Men do Brazilians.
We're on YouTube. We can ask that. So how's that go? Is that kind of up close and personal?
Oh yeah.
All right.
I mean, I do female Brazilians, male Brazilians. I mean, a lot of people ask me all the time. They're like, "Really?" And my answer is, "Do you go to a nurse? Do you see your doctor?"
No.
Well, okay.
Sorry. I gave the wrong answer there, didn't I? I apologize.
Well, most people aren't like you.
Well, true.
They do go see their doctor,
go to a nurse.
It's no different.
No, so I had vasectomy a long time ago, and my doctor named Dr. Hackett, appropriately, and I thought he was going to do the procedure. He brought in his assistant, who was a woman, and I was not all that thrilled that was going on. But I'm old school. I'm 140 years old for those people that don't know. So
I'm just 40.
I'm like Yoda. So, it was more that I think it was the first one she'd ever done.
Oh, so you
and I'm like, why do I have to be the guinea pig? Yeah. I don't want to be the guinea. I guess you want somebody who knows what they're doing, and you know what you're doing, so that helps quite a bit. But when Brazilians for men, that is not something I would have. I got to get down to Miami more often, I guess.
Like an actual bonsai tree, but
mean,
It's not smooth like a Ken doll.
Well,
yeah. Oh, that was the funny thing was when my husband was like, I don't think I want you doing that. I'm like, well, let me practice on you. And he's like, okay. It took one pull, and he's like, all right, I'm done.
Exactly.
This is not.
I don't want to do this anymore. You go do this all you want to over there. They are not going to have it. They're not. It's not going to be something they come back for because it's fun. Hopefully.
Kelly Clarkson.
Don't need more wax.
So if we get people watching this, they want to get a hold of you for services, website, phone number.
Oh, absolutely. Phone number 321-615-1223. It'll be down below in the comments.
Yep.
You can book on, I go through vagaro.com/skincare with Dawn.
VIAGRO? Vagaro?
VAGARO.
Vagaro. Got it. VAGARO. Got it.
Or, you can go straight to skincarewithdawn.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Thank
we appreciate
you.
it.
I appreciate you
Great talking with you.
Likewise.
And you will not be seeing me for a Brazilian, but we,
I was showing my wife your card because we've lived here a year and a half, so she's always on the lookout for maybe a new person for this or a new person for that. So
no, I hope she was
probably
excited.
both of our wives will be in your door.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I'm
weeks whenever a need arises. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. It's
thanks
really
for having
interesting.
me.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I start my city with a single brick. Got a new fit, a fresh pair of classes. If we gon' do it right, I gotta rock the proper kicks. So sick with it, every little bit. Nothing but the whole truth, so we know you feel it. Djembe strapped to my back any given day. Made beauty from the beats my hands played. Soon came the rhythms over which I sang. Life wouldn't be the same if I didn't create.
This is the life that chose me. I fell into it very natural. Everyone has a story. Some took the road less traveled. I've come to know I need some help, but won't succumb to my lower self. Follow your path, some won't believe. On your own, how alone that must have felt.